moved, my records followed me. And so I was working full time, and John was going to school full time. He was going to medical school. So he had days where he was at home studying. He was at home more than I was. So during the day, a couple times, some of the elders quorum guys would come by, and they were trying to see me. So I think at one point, they came over to visit, and John had asked me about it. He's like, so how do you feel about it? Do you want to meet with him, whatever? I said, no, I really don't. So you can tell them they just don't need to come by. So that's what he did. He said, there's no need for you to come by anymore. It's fine. He's, not interested. They kept coming back even after he had said not to. And they came on and got quite indignant, apparently, kind of get demanding about seeing me, and it kind of got a little bit nasty on my porch. So John told him to leave. And there was some kind of surprising words that passed hands, is my understanding. And John said, look, go away, don't come back, I'm going to call the police. Just leave us alone. It's harassment now. You're harassing us. Well, then I got a call from, he was the Elders Quorum president. And so we talked on the phone. And it was kind of it was so funny to find myself in that, it was that whole juxtaposition where now I'm kind of because we would do reenactment work with people who had gone inactive. And so it's so bizarre being in that situation going, wait a minute, I'm a returned missionary, and here I am finding myself, being pursued to be reactivated in the church that I'm asking to just be left alone by. And it's like, look, I don't want anything from you. Just leave me alone. We don't want anything from each other. We're just fine. Just leave each other alone. They wouldn't take that. So anyway, so we have this long conversation where, of course, he feels the need to explain to me, which was really very helpful, that it's not the church's position, you can't be gay, blah, 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 blah. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was very helpful, yeah. So
glad you came by.
So anyway, so then he went on to say, well, you know what? You're welcome anytime to come to church. We'd really love to see you at church. And, you're welcome there anytime. And I said, you know what? Let's just call it what it is. I don't know if you forgot or not, I was a missionary. I know how this works. You're going to come back a couple of times. You try and give me a position where now I have to be there every week. And then you try and give me a reenactment. I was like, I don't want to be. I'm not looking for this. The church is not what I want. And I said, and further, you and I both know that I am not welcome. You like to say that, but I am not welcome. I come there for a couple of weeks, and as soon as I start to not play by your rules, you're going to kick me out. You're going to, there's something. I'm not welcome there, and which is fine. I don't want to be welcome
but don't
there.
Try and tell
but
me
don't try and tell me that I'm welcome there. It's like, don't insult my intelligence. So it was kind of an interesting conversation. Then he brought up, what was it, Evergreen? Mm-hmm. Is that right? There's this program to help it, and it's like, this isn't something that is a flaw. This isn't, and at this point, John and I had gotten, he had helped me understand enough about it to where I had the self-confidence enough to understand that it's like, this isn't something that we choose. This isn't something that you change. This just is. And this is just the way that it is. And so the response to that isn't to try and act like I'm something else. And that's not going to be a solution that is going to make me happy. So, it's not even an option. So anyway, so he presented these things. He wanted me to come to church. I said no. He wanted me to go to Evergreen. I said no. He wanted me to go to, I think they have churches even that are for people that, is it part of Evergreen, I assume?
Do that.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't ask him. I just knew I didn't want it. So anyway, it was probably a couple of weeks later. We come home and they're checking the voicemails on the answer machine, and there's a message on there from, I think it was the bishop of the branch. It was someone that I had never even met before. I met, I think, 2 people from that ward. I had never been to the ward. I had never met anybody else there. So this guy, I don't remember if it was the stake president or if it was the bishop, who was someone who I'd never met before, called and left a voicemail saying, we've talked about your situation or something, and wanted to let you know that on this date, at this time, in this place, we're going to have a church court for you. and you're welcome to attend if you choose. And that was it. So, of course, I deleted it and didn't go or anything like that. But it was interesting, kind of being in that seat, in that position that felt just so foreign. Having something that, I paid tithing all these years. I did all these right things, and all of a sudden it's just completely turning its back. And it's like, oh, well, you don't fit into our ideal, and so you can take these things and we'll mold you into someone else, and then we'll accept you, or we're just going to fall and reject you. And that was what was presented to me. It wasn't an embracing of someone who is outside of their ideal, and so it was very strange to get that. And it was interesting at that point. I think that there was very little emotional response. I think John had more of an emotional response than I did. So that's where it was left. And apparently a little while after, I never saw the piece of mail, but there was actually apparently an official letter that came from the church saying that they had the church court and that they had excommunicated me. So John had a ceremonial burning of that letter, which is a very appropriate use of it, I think. And that's kind of where things were left, and it's never come up again. And frankly, I couldn't say at the time and not soon after, but certainly now, it has no effect on me whatsoever, just because I know that it's not true. I'm not saying that it's not true for anyone. I'm saying that it's not true for me. And I believe that truth is an individual thing. I believe that any one of us have the ability and the right and the justification to have a relationship with God. Universe, Buddha, Allah, whatever you want to call it, we have that ability and that capability within ourselves to have that relationship. And while many people like to have, and I think that they like to have, and I think, if we want to talk about choices in life, this is a choice. Many people like to choose to have a religion lay that out for them. It gives them structure, it gives them that checklist to go, I'm doing this, cool, good. Then you go through and now I'm good. All right, I can sleep at night now. And some people need that, which is fine. Some people need that as a beginning course to then, yes, they go to church on Sundays, but then they have this other means of developing their relationship, whatever. And some people don't need it at all. Some people are capable of having a relationship with the higher being, with whatever you want to call it, outside of, or in spite of, or without a religion to define those parameters for them. And I think that each of us individually has that capability. And it's just a matter of tapping into and doing it. Which, going on mission, I have no regrets about my mission. I think it was the perfect thing to happen to me. That needed to happen in my life. And I'm incredibly happy and grateful. Hello. Exactly. I'm grateful, I'm thankful, everything that I got to do a mission. I met amazing people, Jake being one of them, had amazing experiences, and it really opened my eyes to the bigger world